What's going on, y'all? So this past weekend was nuts. We had a whole lot happen. And before we get started and get into all that, I want to acknowledge the family of Corey Comparatori. And if I'm mispronouncing his name, I apologize. He is the man who was killed by the assassin's bullet that was meant for President Trump. And he was killed shielding his family from those bullets. So it doesn't get any more mission ready than that. So we're praying for him and his family, as well as the other two victims who were shot that day. They are now in stable condition, but we are praying for him. We're praying for all of them as they deal with the trauma and tragedy of that incident. We have we have some stuff to get into. We have a lot of stuff to get into. So let's get after it. No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue which rises against you in judgment you shall condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and their righteousness is from me, says the Lord. They tried to kill him. They tried to kill him. And that he's still alive is nothing short of a miracle from God. Take a look at this graphic right here. This tells you just how close we came to having President Trump taken away from us. Look at that. And I'm not going to play the video, but and I'm sure you've all seen it, the video shows this graphic shows the position of his head and the position of his head after he turns as the bullet whizzes by and clips his ear. He almost had his brains blown out. And the fact that he didn't, like I said, is a miracle. And I'm not going to get into all of that right now because there are so many questions surrounding the shooting. Why the Secret Service didn't have a perimeter set up, why that building wasn't secure, why the Secret Service snipers, and now there's questions as to whether or not they were actually Secret Service snipers or counter snipers, why they didn't engage right away. Were they given orders not to shoot when they saw the shooter? Why they had inexperienced, out of shape agents on President Trump's protection detail? I mean, how did they identify the shooter with DNA when he didn't have a criminal record and he didn't have an ID on him? But I mean, there are more questions than answers right now. We could spend hours armchair quarterbacking all of that. And there are experts like counter snipers who've given their opinions as to why. Well, some people think it was an inside job, and it's not outside the realm of possibility. But we're not going to get into that. There are experts like that sniper I just talked about, Dan Bongino, who was a former Secret Service agent. They can speak to all of this and all of those questions with a lot more authority than I can. And as more information comes out, I will get into it, I'm sure. But for right now, I want to stick to another aspect of this that I think needs to be talked about. Now, I can't remember if I've ever said this in any of my shows or videos, but I have always thought that an assassination attempt on President Trump was a possibility. I based on the rhetoric of the left from the last 8 years, an attempt on his life was inevitable.
What would a second Donald Trump term look like?
Well, he cannot be the next president because if he is.
And shoot visitors to the White House.
Yeah.
that means he can shoot the First Lady.
We're going to see violence, the likes of which we didn't even see on January 6th.
Make it illegal to run against him, to throw his opponents in jail, to shut down the media.
He will make himself into the Führer, and he will make everybody raise their hand and salute him.
Using martial law against the American people.
Terminate the Constitution.
Rewrite the Constitution.
Create mass internment camps.
Throw everyone into Gitmo.
Might be sent to jail, or their rights might be suppressed, especially minority groups in society.
You might have any number of things happen to you and your family.
Every one of us, our freedom, our liberty, none of us is safe.
It's going to have people around him executing against an enemy's list.
Assassinate generals.
Ordering troops to attack American citizens.
Trump's very well-armed and extremist base will try to kill people.
He's going to basically burn the house down.
He will unravel the institutions of our democracy.
Draw similarities between Mussolini and Hitler.
Adolf Hitler and Benito Mussolini.
Makes Donald Trump even more dangerous.
He was president for 4 years, and none of that happened. But now all of a sudden he's going to get back into office, and what are they basing it on other than their own fearmonger? It's absolutely ridiculous. And that was just a snippet of some of the most recent cuts. This has been going on for 8 years. Ever since he came down that escalator, they have been talking like this and stoking this fire. And I could have spent untold hours combing through all of the footage and getting all, I mean, it's just ridiculous. You can only call somebody Hitler, a dictator, Mussolini, rapist, racist, white supremacist. You can only feed that to people for so long before somebody takes it on themselves to act. They call him and his supporters evil. Isn't it morally acceptable to hurt somebody that you think is evil? Now, you and I, Christians, don't believe that. But we all know that these people are not Christians. They actively hate God. So as far as they're concerned, they're screwed up moral compass. It's perfectly legitimate to hurt somebody who they think is going to hurt them first. But when you tell someone enough times that this person is a threat to their way of life, it is only a matter of time. It is only a matter of time before someone gets hurt. But it's leftists who are saying that Republicans and conservatives need to tone down the rhetoric. We're the ones who are stoking this fire. And we're the ones that need to tone it down and unify. And when they say unify, they don't mean it the way you and I would mean it. They mean we're supposed to capitulate to their will. We're supposed to bend the knee to them. Not interested. Not going to happen right on through here. Sorry. Not sorry. Not going to happen. Not interested.
Trump and his MAGA supporters not only embrace political violence, but they laugh about it. Donald Trump's campaign is about him, not America, not you. Donald Trump's campaign is obsessed with the past, not the future. He's willing to sacrifice our democracy, put himself in power.
When they say our democracy, you know what they mean.
You can't have a contest if you see politics as an all-out war instead of a peaceful way to resolve our differences. All-out war is what Trump wants. Trump is now promising a full-scale campaign of revenge and retribution. He calls those who oppose him vermin. He talks about the blood of America as being poisoned, echoing the same exact language used in Nazi Germany.
That was from one speech 6 months ago at Valley Forge. All that was from one speech. The tone and tenor and the raising of the temperature comes from the top. He is the top. He is setting the tone. In just a few days. So he's saying that President Trump wants all out war. And you heard the clip before where they were talking about how Trump's well-armed base is going to kill people and all this other stuff. This is coming from them. It is only coming from one direction. It's coming from them. Any violent talk coming from the left, coming from conservatives, is in response to that, talking about how we will defend ourselves. That's it. We're not trying to attack anybody. Just a few days before the attempt on Trump's life, Biden said this: we need to move forward. Look, we have roughly 40 days until the convention, 120 days till the election. We can't waste any more time being distracted. I have one job. That is to beat Donald Trump. I'm absolutely certain that I'm the best person to be able to do that. So we're done talking about the debate. It's time to put Trump in a bullseye. Put Trump in a bullseye. How is that not an incitement to commit violence? They're saying that Trump incited a riot when he told people to peacefully and patriotically protest. But Biden telling a group of rich donors who have the means to set up something like this, telling them to put Trump in a bullseye, that's not inciting people to violence? I mean, if you or I were caught on a wiretap saying that to somebody, we would have the police at our door like that, and you know it. You know it, and I know it. But Biden said it to a group of people who have the means and the motive to make something like that happen. Nobody says a thing. I didn't even hear about this until after the attempt on Trump's life, when a news outlet actually said something. I hadn't heard about that. And I pay attention to this stuff. And so Biden talking about putting Trump in a bullseye, and all of the rhetoric about wanting all-out war, and all of the talking heads talking about how Trump is a fascist and a dictator and Hitler and a rapist and all the other stuff. We have all of that, and now we're supposed to believe this.
I want to speak to you tonight about the need for us to lower the temperature in our politics. And to remember, while we may disagree, we are not enemies. We're neighbors, we're friends, co-workers, citizens, and most importantly, we're our fellow Americans. You know, the political record in this country has gotten very heated. It's time to cool it down. We all have a responsibility to do that. Let's remember, here in America, while unity is the most elusive of goals right now, nothing is more important for us now than standing together. We can do this. You know, from the beginning, our founders understood the power of passion. So they created a democracy that gave reason and balance a chance to prevail over brute force. That's the American we must be. An American democracy where arguments are made in good faith. An American democracy where the rule of law is respected. An American democracy where decency, dignity, fair play aren't just quaint notions, but living, breathing realities.
They don't make arguments in good faith. Everything about that was complete garbage. The only way unity can happen, at this point is if they repent and apologize. If they come out and say, we were wrong for calling Trump Hitler. We were wrong for calling Trump a Nazi. We were wrong for calling Trump a white supremacist and a racist and a rapist and all the rest of it. Only then would I even consider unifying with these people. Until then, I have no interest, and neither should you. Anyway, folks, that's it for today. I will try to do better on the next one. But as always, when seconds count, the police are only minutes away. But the Lord is right there with you. So keep your prayers going up and your head on a swivel. God bless.